I heard from my roommates that in Michael Sandel's speech, Long Yitai asked Michael a question to ask him to deliver his last words. So I'm going to give my last words in my last day. Thank you very much. This is the day I've been looking forward to for the whole semester. It is not because I'm going to retire, but because every member, including me, in this club has stepped forward in this semester. To step forward in my personality, English, speech, communication skills has always been the reason why I stay in NTU Toastmasters. However, without review and contemplation, to step forward blindly is very dangerous. So this is also the day to evaluate and conclude how big our step was, whether our direction was correct, and to tell my stories so that successors can step forward faster and happier in the journey of NTU Toastmasters. I decided to embark on the journey of president for 3 reasons. First, I thought it was the time, once in a lifetime, to have this opportunity trying to be the president. After all, I was the EVP. Without electing for the president, I would simply retire at that time. It's very simple to me. The only chance in my life, why not try to get it? Second, I thought concrete accomplishments and the abstract stance of leadership are both important. We all agree that we cannot judge someone by his accomplishment or title. Instead, we should give our comment after we deeply talk to and understand that person. However, in the society, most of the time, others don't have the time to know you, and they can only estimate you by your accomplishment or title. At that time, I think the proof of having been the president will be beneficial. And what's more important, if someone further talks with me, he will find my different vision and the thoughts, all because of the experience of president. So being the president is really valuable to me. The third, I thought to demonstrate my blueprint of the future of NTUTN and to compete with other candidates would be very, very fun. Fun has always been the thing to expect it in everything I do in my life. Because to have more than one candidate was very rare in TN history, it's definitely going to be epic and fun. As a result, I became the candidate. Now that I decided to take it seriously, I should spare no effort and innovation in my campaign speech. And I have always appreciated difference and new things. So after my perception, I found there are 2 new fields can be exploited. That is the international affairs and artistic design. I think my international part mainly contended the improved delicacy of education proposed by other candidates. My idea was very simple, to make English in communication necessary with others. Here, the role will be the foreign students. It's the only way to greatly improve our English ability. When we have better English ability, the delicacy of education will be improved spontaneously. I think if I tangled on the same approach of education enhancement by the Taiwanese students, as other candidates were saying, my policy would not be that refreshing and eye-catching. Besides, I also deeply believe the positive feedback impact that will be brought by foreign members. So I proposed this theme and intended to ask Kenneth to be the vice president. I noticed Kenneth has the potential to be a unique leader. But under current 3 VP system, he has no stage. So IAVP team was also specially established for him. On the other hand, Emma was another one I noticed to potentially be a glamorous leader. And I also thought speech alone is not enough. It has to be married with liberal arts, humanity, and design thinking. And I believe Emma will introduce such viewpoints with the AD team. So AD team was also reserved for Emma. And we all enjoyed the fruitful result in the design meeting. With new ideas in my campaign speech, I delivered it and was asked a lot of questions, just like last week. Then, I was elected to be president. Actually, I didn't think too much about whether I would win or not. I had already prepared well in my mind to accept the result of nothing. If I lost, I would retire earlier, which is also a good thing. If I win, then talk about it after I really win. So I think this kind of mind protection is very important. Always think in the worst situation with the best action. Then you won't feel depressed. And after I was elected to be the president, my journey truly began. However, I need to settle down my attitude toward this club so that the derivative beliefs, strategies, and actions can be carried on. So what is my attitude? My attitude toward this club is NTUTM is a club. There are 2 ways to interpret NTUTM is a club. The first interpretation is NTUTM is only a club. Because I think we are students in university. We have a lot of things to do, including playing, family, love, and etc. Other things except NTUTM in our life are also important. So that's what I say, why I say NTUTM is only a club. Based on this concept, I would not require my officers to spend a lot of time doing the official business. I think we can all agree that if all the officers spend more time on this club, for example, if we hold an officer meeting every week, if I spend at least 15 hours on this club every week, then the club will definitely run more smoothly, run better. However, does the necessity exist? I believe not. So in my term of office, I always remind myself to organize the club in a simple, concise, and efficient way so that my officers and myself can have enough time for personal schedule while the club still functions pretty well. However, there is still some tedious but necessary work distributed in the officer team. In my opinion, for example, the work done by the treasurer, secretary, and SAA, and some positions in the VP team are not very interesting. That's in my opinion. Here, I want to particularly thank Arthur and Alvin because of your bridging with Toastmasters International and the Office of Extracurricular Affairs. The club can maintain its shining and glorious appearance. Without you, our authority cannot be carried out, and our back cannot be supported. So, thank you, Arthur and Evan. However, because I still cannot eliminate all the boring work, some deputies left our team, officer team. They didn't show up in the regular meeting anymore. In this situation, I talked with them, I understood, and I say goodbye. I wouldn't persuade that person to stay here because I respected his decision and life plan very much. As I said, NTUTM is only a club. There's indeed more in life to be discovered. I only feel sorry that we cannot have further friendship, or that person will not step forward in the officer team. I think some IPP will think my way of dealing with such things very passive. Other president might try very hard to talk with that person privately. If that officer is successfully called back, the president might feel very proud of himself. However, I still think the chance to move a person's focus from his personal plan is very limited. As a result, I wish him or her better improvement outside NTUTM. Then, if my passive way of keeping the officers safe is applied thoroughly, then why are still quite a lot of officers devoting themselves until now? The key lies in the second interpretation. NTUTM is at least a club. A club must have two elements: humanity and the spirit. Humanity means love, people, and connection. Spirit means inspiration, education, and improvement. The way I maintain NTUTM is at least a club is to let every team work well in the humanity or spirit part. And the way is what I call the big three of leadership shift. The big three of leadership shift. The big three are responsibility, authority, and self-actualization. To easily explain, I would grant my officers full authority to manage the work with implicit indication saying that, hey, this is also your responsibility. And when the officer really does a good job, he or she reaches the self-actualization, and all the glory, applause, and satisfaction are his reward. Okay, it sounds nothing. Let me explain deeply with some examples. I always told my officers to think in this way. Hey, you see, you can use the resources like money from the club, officers in our team, and you have the participants to attend your activity. This is all your authority to conduct. It will be fun, and it's your stage. And if you're really amazed at all the participants, actually, everyone is watching. So we all know who is doing the great thing greatly. So at the end, you will get the likes, respect, and the bravo from others. You will actualize yourself with happiness. In this way, what the officer is going to do sounds magnificent. However, I could also say in another way like this. Hey, this is your responsibility. You have to do it, and you cannot let the audience down. If you need anything like money, people from other team, then tell me. Everyone is watching you. So doing well, okay? You see, this way is stupid and unpleasant, so I never use it. However, these two ways are actually indicating the same thing, indicating the same results. That is, you do it. But the impact can be very different. In my opinion, responsibility and authority is always the same thing from two sides. So apply it well, and the officers will feel more motivated to practice their authority rather than fulfill his responsibility. And after the thing is done fantastically by the officer, the fruit of self-actualization may come very sweetly. For example, Ivan made an excellent performance in the midterm audit. Such excellent performance that the driver said, this kind of man is good enough to marry. I'm sure when someone hears of it, she must be very happy. And every participant of midterm audit cannot agree more on the driver's comments. Another example is from Emma. After the design meeting, everyone appreciated Emma's organization and artistic taste. I'm sure she must also find her self-realization and satisfaction in this event. The above two examples show the self-actualization and the subsequent positive feedback from others. So now back to the question about why the officers keep staying here. I would say it's because they find the spirit of inspiration, education, and improvement in carrying out their authority, and they embrace the humanity of love, people, and the connection, the positive feedback from others after self-actualization. Okay, it's very complicated. In short, it's all a mixture of what I said in the above paragraph. So as a result, I shift my leadership to other officers, and they share my responsibility and authority. And also, I don't necessarily to be the center of this club, to set up positive connections from my officers and me, because the positive connections will be set up among themselves in a peer-to-peer way. They will get the reward from others and themselves. Now, my attitude toward NTUTN is settled down. It seems that in my philosophy, my job is really easy, because all I need to do is shift my leadership. However, still a president in NTUTN is not that easy. And let me unveil what I did and the difficulty inside. The most explicit thing that the president should do is the opening of regular meetings. In fact, after I delivered the introduction of NTU Toastmasters in a demo meeting, I started to consider the opening boring. I hate doing official, non-creative, routine opening at that time. But Bill told me, you are the symbol of NTUTN, and you should have yourself embody the belief of NTUTN. I kind of realized the importance of opening after Bill's words, so I always did it. However, my attitude toward opening was something necessary, but boring. After I came back from China, I suddenly understood that there are two ways when facing something necessary but boring. The first way is to destroy its necessity and avoid and cancel that thing in the future. But the opening is too necessary to skip. So the second way is to turn it into something fun so that you have the motivation to do it. I chose the second way, and you can see from my opening after maybe October that it became more crucial, irregular, and the music was still meaningful. So to turn it into something fun was what I did in the difficulty of opening. Then, after the opening, that will be the closing. The closing will probably be the best coach in teaching me how to be a real Toastmaster. A real Toastmaster, in my opinion, is able to deliver decent, adequate, and meaningful speech. And this content of speech is from my mind. So I have to be able to penetrate the surface of everything happening in the regular meeting and find the essence of them. Finally, I will express them in an inspirational, encouraging way. This process runs instantly in my mind when I'm in the meeting. So training myself to observe and think deeply in a short time. At the end, I think I am closer to a real Toastmaster. And now, after we have seen the two sensible things that the president should do, let's see something hidden. That is the mind and how to manage the officers. In the mind part, in the beginning of the semester, I used to think that others will talk to me more often because I'm the president. However, the results turned out to be out of expectation. I was still alone there, just like normal. So I realized that I'm still myself, no matter whether I'm the president. I further realized that don't think you are the best, the most important, or the most influential in the club, because you are still you. Being the president will not suddenly change your responsibility or ability. Another thing in my part is to separate myself from the club. Being the president will make you hooked on the club in mind or behavior. For example, when I was doing the assignment, what I would want to say in the farewell speech or presidential night would pop up. Or I might want to frequently check on Facebook to see what's going on in this club. These things were considered to be very interfering in my life. And I have to say, I didn't deal with it very well. And I think I still haven't found a solution. So if you are the president and you care much about your GPA, don't take too many heavy courses. Now, in the management part, I mentioned I shift my leadership to my officers by means of the big three of leadership shift. To be specific, I shift my leadership to my 5 vice presidents. They have complete authority and responsibility on their deputies. However, a problem arose, which is called the company-like hierarchy. Company-like hierarchy. Because I basically communicate with my 5 VPs, and I don't know whether other deputies will think, wow, Li-Yuan is so far away. I don't often talk with him. Well, my answer to this question is yes. Yes, I intentionally wanted to only maintain the communication with my 5 VPs, and the rest is their word. Because I know I'm not like Amy, April, or Claire, who can be the center of this club, radiating love or care to every officer. I know I could only make sure every vice president is doing well. So for the deputies who may think I didn't communicate with them or communicate often with them, I have to say sorry. And if some officers thought that they are like employees in a company, and I'm like a boss to them because of the hierarchy, my response is yes, but no. Yes, in the public club business, our system does have hierarchy for the clear division of responsibility and authority. But in private, we are equal and we are friends in a club. I think we have to draw a clear line between the club business and the private friendship. So for the officers who think that they can always talk with me about the club business, I'm sorry, these issues have to be done. And another thing to deal with is the conflict between officers. In this semester, a deputy was responsible to hold an event. However, he or she thought that in that team, there were no teammates because the teammates seemed to be busy with their own stuff and disappeared quite often. Gradually, that person became exhausted in organizing the event alone. I didn't know this thing until that person's dissatisfaction broke out and he or she came to me. That person was already tired and wanted to give up some part. In my opinion, that's because he has already lost some passion in that event. I think in this situation, that's my fault because I didn't deeply check whether that vice president told me was complete or not. And I didn't frequently capture the detail of that event. However, that person's vice president also has the fault because he or she didn't show up or offer help continuously. And at last, that person also has part of the fault because that person should have informed me of this phenomenon earlier. As a result, I think what I did afterwards, like to negotiate, to emphasize the seriousness to the VP, or to find new resources like other officers in other teams to suit that person. What I did was all not better than prevention, not better than prevention. So to prevent takes deeper communication. That's what I learned from this scenario. And the last in the management part is the threats or benefits when applying the big three of leadership. Threat or benefit? I clearly realized this phenomenon from November that our EVP Claire Liu's influence is huge enough to contain my influence. For example, a new member in November asked me, "Hey Li-Yuan, is Claire the leader of this club?" I remained silent for 3 seconds and answered, close to. Or I remember the GE in the joint meeting with NTPU appreciated Claire's well preparing, and all of a sudden it seems that Claire was the president. Or Claire always posts the thanks to everyone on Facebook after each event. Or when we had some officer meetings or gatherings, others will tell Claire whether he will come or not. I didn't even know more about the latest situation than Claire. Countless examples can be cited, but let's see what others thought. Some IPPS told me, "This is a problem. You indulge Claire to be so influential, and she will cover all your glory and the light. People will only remember Claire, not but not Li-Yuan. I answered. Yes. I answered. This is not a problem. NTU TM is a club. It's not an empire or company. And I don't need to worry about being dethroned or fired. Instead, if Claire is willing to do so much, devote so crazily, and enjoy happily, then the consequence is maybe my burden becomes lighter and the club becomes better. So just let her go. I really don't care much about the power, the focus, or the impact, as long as I know what Claire is doing is good to the club. If at the end everyone only remembers in Li-Yuan's time, there was an excellent EVP called Claire who managed the meeting very well. That's fine to me, because anyway, the outcome is the meetings are wonderful. Every member is better. So actually, I'm very thankful to Claire working so hard in this semester. She improved the detail of every single thing, like GLE, mentor-mentee system, and so on. She united the EVP family so well, always cared everyone, and served as an inevitable pivot in the network of human being. You are a NTUTM or LIC, NTUTM or LIC. Anyway, thank you, Claire. Thank you, Claire. And Ivan, you are very good at relationship. Relationship. This semester, the midterm outing, lunch gathering were the activities that amazed me. I also saw that the friendship between officers, new members, and the senior members are stronger under your organization with the MVP team. Most important of all, I think you found the major cooperation with other teams. For the everlasting friendship we had with every member in this semester. Thank you, Ivan. Joy, your way of leadership is very similar to mine. But your ability to make people around you pleasant is far better than mine. In your guidance, the elementary school project, the reception, and promotion were all successful. Recall the prosperity we had in demo meetings and the fun we had in Minchuan Elementary School. I believe in the future you may be a greater leader. Thank you, Joy. Emma, in this semester, you invoked the artistic talent in our pamphlets, Facebook fan page, design meetings, and the historiographer system. These things are what made NTUTM more delicate. With your awesome love and special insights into everything, I believe creative ideas will be brought in the future. Go for it, and thank you, Emma. Kenneth, it was not easy for you to open up a new road to the international affairs. This semester, in the new approach, maybe we went wrong, encountered difficulties, or made mistakes. But the experience were all the nutrition for our growth. And we are very happy and lucky to meet Julia and Michael. I think the difference between 0 and 2 foreign friends is huge. Whether IAVP team in the future still exists doesn't matter. What matters is the memory we had together and the improvement in our way. I think we can proudly say that we don't break our promise of making NTUTN more international. So, well done and thank you, Kenneth. Now, the final part is about whether I am a successful president, in my opinion. Yes, I think I am a successful president for the following 4 reasons. First, when I took over the president, I made a self-commitment that I will lead enough new members to my successor, and I set the number to be 8. According to Claire, there will be 16 new members joining our officer team in the next semester. So I reached the double of my initial goal. And the second, I think from the outer view from officer team, that is the senior or the new members standpoint, NTUTN presents its excellent organization, inspiration, education, and improvement, and the diversified, interesting activities. As a whole, NTUTN is healthy, active, also diligent, and keep improving herself. And why NTUTN is so charming can all be attributed to the officers, not me. So thank you, all the officers. Third, in the officer's standpoint, I think I gave them enough space, provide them with enough spiritual food, and I am always very honest to tell them my thoughts, just like what I'm doing now. I think they can get something from me. If it's good, they can learn. If it's bad, they can work themselves. Anyway, I think I did show a clear example of a leader with not too much workload on themselves. I guess they feel comfortable in the team while getting improved. At last, it's about what I expected this club to be and what it truly is now. I promised in my campaign to everyone that I wanted everyone to see himself or herself more clearly. I think after this semester, my officers, members, or myself can see themselves more clearly through the way our team tackled every detail, through the mutual support from each member, and maybe through my words of calling out for improvement, for better ability, or for advanced preparation of our life. These words always appear in my closing or opening because the meaning of this club to me is to exactly see myself and step forward. I think I can proudly say I made the meaning of seeing and stepping forward, but in every member's mind in this semester. That's what I expected, and I think I have done it. In conclusion, I think I am successful. NTUTN is successful because of all the officers. The honor is all yours, not mine. My journey is about to end. As a storyteller, there is nothing better than having a fun journey so that I have so much to tell. Yes, to be and being the president is fun. If you want to take the same fun journey, I see her. Who will take you step forward? and to tell a touching story for all of you. Follow her and farewell, my friends.